Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. I'm sitting here on the steps of the Sacred Heart Catholic Church, uh, whose food bank basically kept me going for a couple of years. This was my favorite food bank to go to. They were the nicest, and it was the easiest to do, and yeah, it was really cool. Um, I can still go there, and I might have to sometime in the next little bit. But it'll be good to see all the old folks at the Sacred Heart. Very nice people. But I'm sitting across the road from the St. James United Church. This is like church town here. I'm sitting in, um, and that's where the polling station was, because we're getting a new federal government today. Um, or well, the vote is today anyway. Um, yeah, so and it's funny, like all the fucking parties call you up and harass you to fucking, can we count on your vote, blah blah blah, and they all come to your door and ask if they can hang a sign out and all this jazz. And I vote because I have to. You know, I vote because that's the way Canada works. Um, there's certain ways I want the government to go, because that's what we have. You know, I what I don't think in like, I think in different terms of things. When it comes to politics, like I don't like mainstream politics, and I don't agree with a lot of them. I don't like any of the parties in Canada. Um, you know, there's a couple independents that are kind of interesting, but I could not fully get behind any of the parties here in Canada. But there's things I want to keep in place for my own personal welfare. I always, I remember around a year ago when I became friends with Suit and Tie Dip and Chew Guy, and we became friends on Facebook and stuff. And I guess like, I don't get political anywhere anymore. That was something I did as a teenager mostly. If I do something politically now, it's an action, and I'm probably not going to talk about it. But what was I trying to say? Hold on. Anyhow, my point is I don't like any of the parties. I couldn't fully get behind any of them. Um, when it comes to politics, I'd have to say I'm an anarchist. And I'm not like a fucking punk rock, just go crazy in the streets, fucking tattooed A's on your arms and stuff kind of anarchist. I'm a studied anarchist, you know. It's something I've identified with since I was quite young, So, yeah, I think in different terms in politics. But I was telling you about Suit and Tie Dip and Chew Guy. Yeah, he looked at my Facebook, and I guess I don't get political anywhere. I don't. It's just something I don't talk about. Like, I think very politically, but I don't. I don't really talk about it much, and I don't try to get in people's face about politics at all. If you believe in what you believe, that's your fucking sovereign right. And like Noam Chomsky said, to paraphrase Noam Chomsky, he said, I may not believe in what you believe in, but I'll defend your right to believe in it to the death. Yeah, Suit and Tie Dip and Chew Guy, him and I aren't really online politically with each other, but that doesn't mean that I don't respect him and want to be his friend. You know, I don't think he's irrational in his thoughts. He's very studied in why he believes in what he believes, and I can respect that. You know, and yeah, so you know, politics. It's a very fucking. It's your own thing, right? You gotta. I'm very pragmatic when it comes to voting in Canada. You know, I just want to. I just don't want my life to fucking change any more for the worse. You know, there's been times when the government's changed in Canada, and it's just made life for anybody living under the poverty belt quite awful. You know, so I try to keep do my best to keep things in place that don't make my life a living hell. Very pragmatic, you know. Whatever. Anyhow, I'm just yakking about politics. Fuck it. I voted. It's over. Yeah, so I guess now I'm gonna take a walk around. It's a nice day, and I'm gonna go down to the dollar store maybe and get some cans of soda pop, something like that. But all right, be well, everybody. I got more stuff coming up in the future. Don't forget to ask me random fucking questions. Melman Mandela, fucking lay him out, buddy. And anyhow, yeah. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all your views. Thanks for everything. I'll have more later. But until then, be well. And I'll talk to you soon. It's a beautiful day for outdoor vlogging. I'm chewing on some Stoker's Red Supreme. For anyone who's interested to know, I'm getting low on dip. I haven't been really low on dip in quite some time, and but it's happening. But I think it's going to sort itself out pretty soon. More on that later. So juicy. Okay, so a couple of videos ago, I made a video about how where I played a cassette of my old band Wine Withg Everything. Kind of my first, well, definitely my first performing band in Peterborough. You know, I'd been playing as a solo musician before we started that, but yeah, my first crazy band in Peterborough, and I think it was NoBluffBuff who said, "How did I miss this?" or something like, "I have you talked about this band before?" or whatever, and I have in plenty of videos, I think. But I think it was NoBluffBuff who asked that. But if it isn't, whoever asked that, I'm going to tell you a crazy Wine Withg Everything story. Now, we were definitely, the arrangement of the band was, I played guitar through a real lousy guitar, and I liked it that way, through a little pig nose amplifier. Now, pig nose amplifier is a little battery-powered mic or amp. It's about, I don't know, off my leg, it's about that tall, and about that wide, you know. And you can carry it around and play anywhere. They're amazing sounding amplifiers. if you mic them, they sound like a Marshall stack, you know. And if you mic them right. But anyway, that's what I played. Our drummer, Chris Brown, the Frown. He played drums. Now there was a few times where he actually had a drum kit to use when we were playing. Like, we mainly played out on the street or in parking lots or whatever, just because nobody really wanted us in their bar to play. We weren't really accessible music, you know. This is back, you know, when we were doing this. This was back when pretty much all the music in Peterborough was folk or Celtic or, you know, it was like hippie stuff, right? Like people singing Wagon Wheel and at the acoustic potluck, and like Bob Dylan covers and Joni Mitchell covers. You know, so it was all good stuff, but there was no rock and roll in the town, like fucking none that was worth mentioning, you know. In my world, anyway. So we started this band called Wine Withg Everything. Now, I played guitar. Chris played drums. There was a couple times he had a drum kit, but 98% of the time he used like stiff cardboard boxes, like tomato boxes that restaurants get. They make a great drum. Or buckets. He'd get like pickle buckets and just anything he could hit. You know, he had a fire alarm bell that he used as a cymbal. It was quite an excellent setup. And he could, like, you know, he could throw half of it away if he didn't want to carry it home and just replace it for free the next time we played or whatever. Now, Charlie Petch used to be called Kathy Petch. Charlie's a trans friend of mine. Been one of my dearest friends since I moved to town here, you know. And they don't live here anymore. Live in Toronto. And tour around all over the place with their theater and their poetry, and to watch their career blossom the way it has been a fucking joy, you know, because they were once right with me, you know. Yeah, so back then we called her, and we called her Kathy. And so I will refer to her just for historical sake and in past terminology. So Kathy Petch would play all kinds of crazy shit, like a power drill. That was very prevalent in the tape I played. You could hear her power drill a lot. Played like she'd get walkie-talkies and make them feed back against each other. Go to Toronto and get a whole bunch of Chinatown like robotic toys, and just put batteries in them and just let them go off on stage, like wandering all around, saying stuff like "I am a super fighter," you know, stuff like that. And it was, and also played musical saw. They're quite an accomplished musical saw player, and a bit of viola. Chris played the bugle as well. That was kind of funny. Anyhow, we were a crazy band, you know, and we just played noise rock, you know. Like I'd play old blues songs on my guitar, and they would just accompany me, and it would be like this, like, you know, old school blues meets like fucking German noise rock, you know, or something like that. You know, it was a mess, you know. And Chris would always go off on his microphone at the drums with, like, I don't know. If you hear the tape in the other video, you'll understand what I mean. He fucking goes off on these. It was hard reining him in at times. And we had fucked up shit happen all our outdoor gigs, at least, you know. Um, so anyway, we garnered quite a reputation for definitely being the most punk rock band in town going around, you know. And so a few years in to us doing that, there was a band that started in town called Destination Gutter, and I think that was a bowling reference, but they thought it sounded metal. So, and they were a pretty horrible band, you know. Like I have a lot of love for their guitar player, Dave. I have no love for their singer, Sean Fisk. He's a piece of shit. Um, but they would play like super heavy, slow, fucking like just sludge music, you know. And Sean would like run around naked with a bucket of fake blood and an axe and like or a little hatchet and be like going and like you know in front of people's faces and trying to be a fucking scary, intimidating dude, which he really wasn't, um, as much as he liked to think he was. So Destination Gutter was kind of a piece of work. You know, Wine Withg Everything was definitely a piece of work. And Sean from Destination Gutter, I don't know, somehow he got it in his head that it was a competition. And so he wanted to prove that Destination Gutter was the most punk rock band in town. And they were challenging Wine Withg Everything. So they set up this gig at this bar called the Trashateria that's long gone now. And we opened, and this was what made it good. It's because we were the opening act because they wanted to headline, right? And you know, and so for like a month prior to the gig coming up, you know, Sean had always be coming up to me and just saying, "I'm gonna fucking punk rock your ass." So I didn't even know what he meant. Like, it's not a competition, dude. And one time he came up to me and he said, "You know, man, I am so fucking determined to win this competition that I'm prepared to cut my little finger off to show you how much more punk rock I am than you." And I just looked at him. I said, "Well, fucking go for it, bud. I'm gonna play guitar and show you, you know, because you know it was not gonna go any other way than we were gonna win, you know." So the day of the gig happens, and we get to the Trashateria. We were at a pig roast barbecue right before downtown, and at a friend's place, and so we went there, and we actually brought the pig's head to the gig, and we got in a lot of shit for that. Um, But while we were walking through a park on our way to the gig, we had this friend of ours who was I can't really describe him, but he was a character, and named Donnie, and Donnie came up to us and he offered us some acid tabs, and we were like, okay, we're going to one of our crazy gigs. This guy is trying to sell us acid. Of course, you know, we're all in. So we bought acid and we dropped it, and we get to the gig, and now one of Chris's long-term goals in music was to turn a fire extinguisher on the crowd, right? Just to do it, right? So now I didn't. He said he had a special surprise for this gig, right? Um, so we're up, we're doing our thing, we're all fucking tripping balls on acid, um, we get into our third song, I guess, and all of a sudden, I see Chris coming on. Like, he came up from his drum kit to the front of the stage, and he had not one but two stolen fire extinguishers, and he just let them both off. He just cranked them off on the crowd. Right, there was chemical dust everywhere. Um, Now this gig was quite an event, I guess, to the public. It was a really well attended gig, probably our definitely our best attended gig. There was like 400 people there. The bar was maxed out, and so we set off these fire extinguishers, and everybody left. There was only, and while we were doing it, like while the fire extinguishers were going off, Kathy and I were just still ripping through the tune, playing like nothing was happening, and yeah, so only a handful of people ended up sticking around to see Destination Gutter, because we fucking drove everybody away. Um, but it was kind of like a mic drop moment, when we were done, because it was just like, okay, beat that, and they were pissed. They were so pissed because all the people left, right? And yeah, so that was a crazy Wine with Everything story, and that wasn't, that when I think about it and the way the whole way the band was, that was just a little thing that we did. We had a lot more stuff that we did together. But anyhow, I just wanted to tell that story for NoBluffBuff. Sorry if you heard it before. Um, but yeah, that's the lowdown on Wine with Everything. All right. Um, This is gonna be one of them collage videos, and I think it's gonna be quite long. So I'm gonna end off now, and wish you all a good day. Be well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.